done when new code is added to the existing system or some code changes are made in existing software to make sure that no new bugs have appeared due to the change made. Okay. Acceptance testing. And the question is, what's the difference between acceptance and regression? It's not define one and define two. The question is, what is the difference? Okay. Acceptance testing is just done before the product is released to the customers, to make sure that everything is working fine and the user can accept to work with the product without any major bug. Okay, that is another type of testing. So here you are talking about what's called user acceptance testing. User acceptance testing, it's a different one. So what the question was about, it was about release acceptance testing. So release. That is the testing you do a lot. And user acceptance testing is not testing done by testers. We will talk about that as well, but user acceptance testing is done by guys. Now you don't write your test, okay? You stop writing your test, you start listening, because otherwise you're going to fail in everything. You fail in submitting your test, and then you fail in listening, which means you're going to fail next time, guaranteed. So user acceptance testing is done by subject matter experts on behalf of future users. So people who are real good in that software, so they come and they do that usability testing to make sure users will use it nicely. It is not done by QA. QA might organize these people. QA might bring them together and say, we want this and this and this, but then it is not done by QA. And it is just once in a time testing. So user acceptance testing is a different type of testing, a relatively new type of testing. In a traditional sense, when we say acceptance testing, we talk about release acceptance testing. So let's see. Regression testing is partial retesting of the modified program to make sure verification requirements. Okay. Regression testing, partially retesting of modified program to make sure that new errors not introduced. No. Acceptance test, verification of requirement implementation. Wow. Program or part of the unit with a minimal % of the bugs. Acceptance. Okay, let's talk about acceptance once. We discussed that regression testing is second most frequently executed test. After what? Acceptance. After release acceptance. What is the purpose of release acceptance? No. What is the purpose? For release is good enough for customer.
No, for testers.
For no, guys, two different, totally different questions. Why we do that and how we do that? Okay. The question is, what is the difference between regression and acceptance? Not in terms how we do it. Why?
Because acceptance is the most frequently.
Why we do so? What is the difference in why we do one and why we do another one? One is we make sure that no bugs were introduced, new bugs as a result of modifications made. But before we are able to do regression, before it comes to us for regression, it has to pass release acceptance. Some releases never come for regression because they never pass the release acceptance.
The requirements are not met. There are requirements for a release which is supposed to be included in the release.
Where did you take that? Where did it come from? has no meaning. Has no meaning. We are talking about specific things, narrowed down to specific definition. Requirements met is so broad, it makes no sense to talk about smaller things. If the whole thing we understand is requirements met, why we go for the course and we learn regression, acceptance, user acceptance, release? Makes no sense. It's all about requirements met. It's all about requirements met. But now, specifically, what is release acceptance? And it is not requirements met. If you learn how it is done, it is not about requirements met. It's about catastrophic issues in there. If it doesn't have catastrophic issues, catastrophic failures, so it will go to QA. It's not very much detailed testing. It is relatively superficial testing. Very much superficial. It's not about requirements met. Guys, requirements met is not a mantra, okay, which you send to each and every question, you know, coming to you. If you do that, you are totally out of picture. It is a specific question. You have to provide specific answer. Okay. So, well, it's good we run into that. And so I hope next time you will have better idea. What's next? Test cases for last name. Let's move to the number 3 first, and then we will come back to the test cases.
Question.
Yes.
Do you have a definition of acceptance testing?
We do have definition. I'll show you. We do. In that portnow.com/data/QA, it should be under number 4, I believe. We do have it. Under other. It is not what you do right now, though. Test plan is a document with focus on strategy, resources, responsibility in test process. It's not how we define it. I mean, it's not exactly the verbiage. Test plan includes product overview, risk analysis. It answers different question now. So what's included in test plan? So one question is, what is test plan? Another one is, what's included? What are the components of test plan? It's a different question. So the question, what's test plan, is not done nicely here. Document with focus on strategy, resources, responsibility. It's not bad. But it's not as good as it could be if you would learn the definition we give you. Okay, what else? Usually created by lead staff. The question was not who creates test plan. You cannot define test plan by who does test plan. Business analyst, product owner, used to structure work from. It is irrelevant to the class we are teaching here. You know? It just comes out of blue. I don't know. Test plan document that describes objective, scope, approach. One more word. Document that describes objective, scope, approach, and focus of the software testing effort. Good. The highest level of documentation type in software QA life cycle. Okay. Written, designed by all members of the QA team. Good. Then signed by QA lead. Where that comes from? Signed by QA lead. Where does it come from? Shared responsibility between QA team members, sets the timelines for test cycles. Not just timeline. I mean, it sets all the generic issues. Okay, good. Test plan is what testers prepare before they start testing. It's a plan on what should or shouldn't be tested. Ooh, 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 ooh. No answer. Test plan is a document that describes objective scope of testing. High-level document, true, prepared by the QA department with help from other departments. That includes requirements team, development team. We didn't tell you that. But the most important defect here is the definition itself is not good. Objectives, scope of testing. So we have 2 words out of 4. Objectives, scope, and focus. That's it. So that is what you have to come with. Test plan is a document that specifies scope, limitations, approach. So guys, you didn't have time to look at the definition. I mean, it's just 1 line, just nothing. Document that describes scope, approach, resources, and schedule of a software testing. Okay. Let's move to the test cases for last name field. As far as I remember, we have it on the forum, yeah, the answer. Am I right? Let me see. It's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the test plan.
It's online. Discussion online, I believe.
Okay, and then, guys, all it takes is just doing the homework. I mean, if you ignore the homework, you automatically ignore many good things which might happen to you. You just leave them on the table for someone who does the homework. Okay, is it? I'm just trying to see if I can run the browser here. Yes. I wanted to make sure we have it on the school forum. Portnov.com forums. Yes, we go to forums, and then we go to interview questions, and one of them should be, what is test plan? Document that describes the objective, scope, approach, and focus of software testing effort. Guys, it's just no more than 10 words here. Highest level document possible. Does not include test cases. Okay, you might not run it. Okay, write it just for you. Developed by QA team with other team possibly contributing. Possibly contributing. Possibly. And it doesn't say developers or business analysts. Possibly. God knows. Whatever. There is a possibility, but it's not exactly. It's done by us, and everybody is involved. It doesn't say that QA lead should sign anything in. What if they have no QA lead? Yeah. Okay, coming back to the test cases. Okay, test cases. So let's see what you are saying here. The good news is we have most of you coming with requirements first, which is kind of achievement, yeah? Because that is exactly what we want you to be up to. So anytime they ask you, what are the test cases? You say, wait a second, let's do requirements first. And let me see what you are doing here in terms of requirements. Requirements. So what we have here, requirements. Only Latin characters can be accepted. You might do that. Latin, okay. Only Latin, okay. Characters accepted, okay. First letter should be capital, uppercase. I don't know what that kind of requirement is. Well, if you want it automatically capitalized, it's one story. If you will reject typing unless it begins with capital letter, it's a completely different story. So, okay, let's say first letter automatically converted into uppercase. Okay. Field can contain only 32 characters. Okay. Accepts 32 characters. Okay. What else? Special characters are accepted. Here it says special characters. It doesn't say anything about digits. But I don't know. I don't like that special characters. Okay, let's see what other people come with. Required field. Okay, let's make it required field. Okay, so there is nothing wrong in, here. So required field, good. So we are gathering requirements from different responses. Okay. Any combination of letters and special characters accepted. Okay. Accept 32 characters. Okay, then let's make it here. Accepts letters, digits, and special characters. Okay. No more than 15 characters. Numeric data is not accepted. What do you mean? Numeric data is not accepted. No, I don't like it. Guys, you will need 3 test cases anyway. Expected result will be different. But you still need 1 test case for letters, 1 for digits, and 1 for special characters. Okay. Let's see if we have more requirements here. No. Still lots of people come with no requirements. Okay. Guys, that is what we teach you to do. Guys, next time you write test cases, you have to tell yourself, I should start with requirements. Otherwise, it's not exactly the best answer you can make. And so did we do the test cases before for that one? We did it. Same last name. Okay, let me see what was last time here. Test cases. Last name field. Requirements. Required. Accept 32. All characters are allowed. First character will, capitalize. Input is limited to Latin characters only. Same validation applied to typed or pasted input. Leading and trailing space characters to be eliminated. That is sophisticated one. But so we did that before. Now let's see what test cases you are coming with. So after you did the requirements, the question is, are you capable of converting the requirements into test cases? So it doesn't stop at requirements. Okay, so test case ID 1, 2, 3, 4. Good. Not over sophisticated. Okay. Description. Required field. Okay. Steps. Login with no input. What do you mean login? Guys, where the word login comes from here? Logging with no input. I mean, if all the text fields to you are login and password, so then probably you cannot test even. Because we have lots of other fields. And when I say last name, and you think about login, that is your association, guys. It's a very wrong association. What about email, which might be used for logging as well? I mean, but it's not about logging. Required field. Combination of letters and special characters. Never ever we test combination in one test case. Guys, what are you saying? Positive letters, positive digits, positive special characters. One more time. We have 3 test cases. We do not do combination. We do 3 test cases. Either you understand the meaning of test case, or you think test case is like you know what? When I was your age, okay, let's see, and we lived in Soviet Union, and they didn't have pizza the way we know pizza here, and they would call pizza when you take the piece of whatever, yeah, and put whatever garbage you have left in your refrigerator, tomatoes, cucumbers, cheese, whatever, bologna, so just make it kind of garbage can, you know, stuff. Guys, test case is not a garbage can or Russian pizza. Okay, test case is a very structured document with specific meaning in it, and we do not test combinations of digits, letters, and special characters. We have one test case for each group. Okay. Oh yeah. Valid last name. Submit, accept. Past valid last name, paste probably. What is valid last name? Type up to 25 characters in the field. Guys, look how miserable it looks when you say type 25 characters without saying it accepts 25. And 25, if you say 25 is the limit now, let's type 25, you are doing decent work. If you didn't say it accepts 25, and you say type 25 characters, why 25? I mean, so type 25 characters in the field, submit, appropriate message will appear. Why in the world appropriate message will appear? And what do you mean under appropriate message if you write test cases? There is no room for appropriate. Tell me exactly. That message should tell exactly what's wrong. What's wrong? Guys, it's not a test case. Okay. Type valid last name. What does it mean? What does it mean, valid last name? Is it test case?
It's in the requirement.
Huh?
If you define what is valid in the requirement, then in
Well, first of all, there is no requirement. Secondly, if you do test cases, you come with values. Look at that. I said Portnov, Portnov 1, Portnov $sign, Portnov lowercase, uppercase. Test case means you provide the definition, a set of conditions and variables. Variables which you type in, variables.
So in the requirement should be a definition of the valid.
Where is requirement here?
It's not my job.
No, no. But I'm just telling you, there is no requirement, and I told you.
Oh, okay.
Number one, and this is why I'm saying the requirement is must, because if you do not write it should accept 25 or 24, I don't know why it should fail. I do not understand why it should provide any message. But again, in terms of the test case, the format of test case doesn't allow you to say appropriate message or valid last name. It has no meaning. If you give the test case to 10 different people, you will get 10 different test cases executed. Is it clear? Everybody will do it differently. So now, as a test case, there is no test case here. And there is a misunderstanding of what's test case, which is more important to us right now. Test cases for last name, requirements, input required, okay. Required field, we call it. The field is the required field. No longer than 21 character, good. Not contain numbers and special characters. Can include space and comma. if it comes to last name, guys, I mean, you can write any requirement, but if you do not want to be ridiculous, do not look ridiculous to other people, last name has no limitations. I mean, if you ever seen last name field in anywhere, guys, it has no limitations. Try it. It will allow you to type in everything. So you shouldn't come with ridiculous requirements. It should be common sense requirements, but not ridiculous. And then, and if you're saying it can include space and comma, then you need test cases for space and comma. And there is no test case here. Look, if you do not do test case, why would you create a requirement to say, I don't care about requirements? The whole, guys, they have to be kind of synchronized, you know? If you do not write test cases, remove it from requirements, because it works against you now. Okay. Positive. Assumptions. Should be 30 characters in length, okay. Automatically capitalize the first. Should accept all characters, okay. Mandatory. Required. Okay, not mandatory, required. Enter 30 characters, enter special characters, lowercase, tab, blank. Still, we do not have test cases for the requirements listed. Guys, for each requirement you place, you have to come up with test cases. Otherwise, you just have requirements and don't test them. You see what I mean? It should be synchronized 100%. Okay, so guys, we move from small test to bigger test. Endeavor. We go to, you know that place already. It's portnoy.com/what? Surveys. Yeah, we are speaking the same language. Okay. Test documentation 1, guys. Test documentation number 1. Let me go and clean it up for you. Sign in. Wow. Okay, test documentation number 1. We are looking at question number, what is test case? So 96% of you are on the right side. Yeah, it is a set of conditions and or variables under which tester will determine if requirement is satisfied or implemented properly. And again, normally when you have an interview, when you go to an interview, it is not just about the definition. It involves some conversation on the top of that. So you might say, without looking into our list of things related to that, right out of here, you can say test case is something which corresponds to requirement. If there is no requirement, there is nothing to test. There is no need for test case. It is situational conditions and variables rather than executional. It's not how you do it. It is a situation at the time when you plan test case. It is a situation you want to recreate and make sure it is implemented properly. So when user runs into that situation, the application will do exactly what we want it to do. Because some people understand test case as something to be executed. Definitely, at some point we have to execute. But execution is not what test case is about. Test case is a situation. When you create certain situation which corresponds to that requirement being implemented or not implemented properly, and then we say, okay, failed or passed. That is the idea of test case. Okay, short description of a bug report. God. Another way to refer to test scenario. Test scenario is a term which is not defined in software testing. It is more like human language. So we are trying to avoid things like that. It happens anyway. Whatever we are trying to avoid, we sometimes say, but it doesn't refer to any test scenario, and we don't know what it is. Format used by business analysts for specifying system requirements. That one is called, we have two people here, that one is called use case. Use case, not test case. The quizzes are built to fail. When I create possible answers, the options for you, I intentionally offer you something which people go into sometimes. So it is built to fail. You're good here, 96%, very good. What is included into the test case at the time of planning? Sometimes you look at a question, and question is so simple, especially when it comes to bug reports, or like that one. Very often the key to the answer is in the question itself. So at the time of planning is the key. Because a test case has certain things which are must when you plan, and certain things which are must when you execute. Specifically, when you execute, you need actual result and you need pass-fail. When you plan, you don't know. I mean, you ignore that stuff. You cannot really do much. So steps to reproduce is a total destruction. It comes from bug report. What we have in the test case, we call it an instruction on how to get from the application base state, you just run it, base state, default base state, to verifiable application output. So the place where you do verification, passed or failed, up to requirements, not up to the requirement. Expected results. So we do not have steps to reproduce, we have certain steps as a part of the instruction on how we act to get there. Instruction how to resolve the problem, nobody buys into that. Pass-fail indication. Guys, you are well-intended people, but 39%, not at the time of planning. You have to answer the question. I mean, not just overall idea of the question, but specifically, the question says at the time of planning, you have to pay attention to the question. So that one is not paying attention. Report a bug after discussing with QA manager or QA lead. Guys, you are likely to keep the job, so you don't want to do that. It's good. Expected result, sure, it is must. Guys, how come you have 75% here? Tell me. Expected result is must. When you say, okay, let's do this, what do you expect? How other people will say failed or passed? Unless you tell them the expected result. Short description. What is short description? Huh? What is short description? Hmm? Yeah, but the short, where the short is from? It's from bug report. There is no short description in test case. No short description. I mean, the word description is a nice word, but it comes in combination with short. So it is provoking you, same as steps to reproduce and short description. It is provoking you to get confused with bug reports and test cases and no, I was just provoking you. Actual result. Guys, how come actual result? At the time of planning. And then pass-fail, guys, if you have pass-fail indication, 39%, why can't you have actual result 39%? I mean, what's wrong? So see, it is very inconsistent. And it is inconsistent not because you have lots of doubts about the meaning of that, but because you didn't pay attention, and then you get confused. And when you get confused, everything happens. Most of the times you fail at the time of interview, it happens because you get confused, you get stressed. Interview is a stressful process by itself. So even if you know something and then you come to an interview and they ask you what you know, you say, definitely it is not what I thought before it is. Yeah? And then you run into God knows where. So stress is a part of the failure. But right now you have no stress, guys. Pay attention. But that is important. Read the question. Okay. What are the most common documents written by testers? Bug reports, good. Steps to reproduce, again, is not a document, guys. Steps to reproduce is a field in the bug report. There is no document like steps to reproduce. Test cases, why don't we have 100% here? I mean, why? Really? You have a doubt that testers do test cases? Test matrices. What's wrong with test matrices? We discussed test matrix, yeah? Like browsers, operating systems. I gave you an example. So test matrix, according to the definition we have, is a structure, basically spreadsheet, in which we keep track of impact created by combining certain things. Let's say browsers, operating systems, or any other combination. Traceability matrices. You probably don't know what it is, yeah? Okay, let's keep it there. But sometimes we have to keep track of requirements implemented. Because if we do not keep track of requirements implemented, we start reporting bugs on requirements which are not supposed to be implemented yet. And then we just waste our time and developers' time. So in some companies, part of the process is they keep track of requirements implemented. So those traceability matrices are requirements traceability matrices, the implementation of requirements. It happens to do that in software QA department. I'm not saying that is the must document. I'm not saying that is one of the most frequently developed documents. Not really, but it could be a part of what you do. Test plans. Why in the world we have 48% for test plans? It might be you. I mean, if that matrix is a part of what you are doing, you will do it. I mean, you might come to more senior people and say, listen, what do you think? And you will discuss, but it might be you if you do that. So each of us might do that at a certain level. So test plans. Guys, why in the world we have 48% for test plans? Who develops test plan if not testers? Who does it? Who else? Give me an example. Who else? We have it in our definition of test plan. You remember? We are saying everybody contributes to the test plan at a certain level. So definitely, the more senior those guys are, so the more they contribute. But wait a second. But we are all testers. QA manager is a tester. Leads are testers. We are not in development. We are not in technical support. We are not, I mean, it doesn't say junior testers. Or that doesn't say QA interns. It says testers. People who are testing. So it's 100%. Guys, we do the test plan. It's not anybody else.
Most common document for
Oh, it is extremely common document. Absolutely.
on a daily basis.
What do you mean daily?
Like a tricky question.
You know, it doesn't say anything about daily basis. It says who develops that document. People in QA. They might have no test plan at all. It's a battle plan. You might modify it not on daily basis, but sometimes you can kind of, because the plans change. The plans get corrected over time. It's not like every day to be modified document. No, on everyday basis. No, sometimes. But again, it is done by testers, nobody else. End-to-end tests. Who can tell me what's end-to-end test? We mentioned that before. What's end-to-end test? End-to-end test is a system-level test. System level. So it's not about feature. It's more like business type. So there is a feature, I mean big feature. Let's say I am able to upload, user should be able to upload videos in MP4 format, for example. Okay, now what do? We have a file, and then we upload, and it might take lots of steps, and it might take, if you look at the test cases, it might take maybe 50 test cases to execute before it happens. But that specific end-to-end test, I don't care about test cases. I don't care about what's involved on the development side. I just want to be able to upload that file. That's it. And then we might have files of certain volume. You know, there should be some limitation of how big that file could be, or maybe no limitation. I don't know. There is a feature. There is some functionality which user will use eventually. So, and I'm looking from system level without looking into the smaller things, just big picture. Okay, requirements. If I have use case, if someone gives me use case and I run it on QA side, it will be an example of end-to-end test. Who does end-to-end test? We do. We do testing at the feature level. We do testing of integration of different features, and we do system level testing when everything is integrated. Requirements, we do not do requirements. We do not do use cases. That's pretty much. I'm kind of surprised with test plans here, guys. You are supposed to give higher percentage to test plan.
Yeah,
yes.
But we probably considered it as like a tricky question. If
Why?
it was written by QA team, that it would be included, but like testers will be
Testers is
treated as a singular person.
What do you mean test? It's plural.
I mean like not the effort of a team, but like one person.
No, when we say testers, it means not developers, not technical support, not business analysts, but testers. It is about testers as a whole group. Testers as a group. Not tester like Michael, John, no, that is my understanding. I don't know. Who does bug reports? We do them as a group, or we do them individually. What's bug report? I don't know. It was not supposed to be confusing in that way, but it might be. Which documents would you refer to when creating test cases? Which document? Imagine, guys, you've been in starvation kind of for a month. Okay, just come, and they ask you, what do you like more, bananas, or maybe, stew, or I don't know, something nice, yeah, pizza, yeah. And you say, give it all to me, guys. What are you saying? Don't limit me. Okay, I'm starving. Same story. You are starving for each and every piece of information, which relates one way or another way to the project you are doing. So it says all business and technical documentation available. Absolutely, guys. Why 69%? 100%. All business and technical documentation available. Will rely primarily on my product knowledge. Product knowledge cannot replace requirements. Product knowledge is very good because it saves your time. It helps you to go into the right direction. Okay, it helps you to ask right questions when it comes to asking questions. I remember one company, I had an interview there myself, and they say, okay, how would you test this? And which questions would you ask? Huh? Guys, they give you something, kind of incomplete data, yeah, thing, and say, which questions would you ask to test that? Interesting. And it's a part of the deal. You look at something, you learn what it does, and you always have questions. All business and technical documentation will rely primarily on my product knowledge.